Welcome. I'm back here with Cass Sanford, the Associate General Counsel for the OTC Markets Group. We're talking about the recent rule changes to Rule 211. Cass, how are you? Thanks so much for being with us.
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Mike.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure, Cass. Can't wait to discuss these rule changes to 211. Let's start with just a broad overview and get some context here. How have these rule changes changed the market?
Sure. So Rule 15C211 is an SEC rule that governs the ability of a broker to publish quotes or bids and asks, indications of interest in OTC securities. So it's an old rule. It was first adopted in 1971, over 50 years ago. And the intent really is to curb fraudulent practices with respect to broker-dealer quoting in OTC securities. So obviously a lot has changed since the rule was first adopted, and the SEC's intent in amending this rule is really to modernize it and enhance some of the investor protection and market efficiency measures. Generally speaking, the rule now requires that companies publish current information and make that information publicly available in order to maintain a quoted market on our market. The rule also introduces a few new exceptions for larger, more liquid issuers, and it gives OTC Markets Group, as the market operator, the ability to determine whether or not a security is meeting the rules requirements and publish out those determinations to the market.
Fantastic. Okay, now that we have a little bit of context, let's talk about investors specifically. How do these rule changes affect investors and the way that they're functioning?
So investor protection was certainly top of mind when the SEC was modernizing this rule, and the enhanced disclosure that comes as a result of the rule certainly increases investor protection and creates more informed, more efficient marketplaces. But with respect to investors, we get the question a lot, how does this impact the securities that I hold and what I can and cannot trade? It's important to note the rule really does just govern the publication of quotes. So it doesn't actually extend to an investor's ability to buy or sell an OTC stock. Certain brokerage firms may have different policies and compliance procedures around which customers can interact with the market. So we encourage investors to really reach out to their broker and ask about how the rule impacts them in their portfolio.
Terrific. All right, Cass, obviously very exciting to see Grayscale Securities bring 3 new securities to the OTCQX market recently. How did the start of trading work for these securities given the new 211 process? Did anything change on that front?
Yes, thank you. We are very excited. It represents a pretty big shift in how companies go public on our markets. Traditionally, before the rule was amended, companies would need to engage with the market maker in order to begin being quoted on our markets and go through a process with FINRA to file a Form 211, undergo an initial information review. Now, under the new rule, OTC Markets Group, as the market operator, can perform those functions, conduct that review of the company information, determine that it meets the requirements under the rule, and publish that determination out to the market so brokers can begin quoting. So it's really a more streamlined process than existed prior. And we are very excited to have worked with the Grayscale team to bring these innovative products onto our market, and are very much looking forward to working with other OTCQX and OTCQB companies.
Amazing. Okay, Cass, as we close, let's look into the futures a little bit. To the extent that you can speak on it, to the extent that you can see anything coming, are there any other rule changes on the horizon that might be in the offing that might affect the market?
Sure. So the SEC just published its report on the GameStop hearings, and clearly they're turning to broader market structure issues. So we are likely to see some market structure proposals and regulatory recommendations that impact equity markets just in general. I'm not sure with respect to our market in specifically, but we have certainly been out ahead on a number of issues impacting our market, really advocating for reform around transparency and disclosure of short sale regulation, transfer agent regulations, insider and affiliate reform, and a host of other issues. So we're very much looking forward to seeing what comes out of the commission.
Terrific. A lot to keep an eye on, as always. So always happy to have you and the team on hand to guide us through it. Cass Sanford, Associate General Counsel of the OTC Markets Group, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks, Mike.